there. I've seen quite a bit of booktubers do the end of the year book tag, and I'm going to hop on that train and do it too. The end of the year comes up so fast, and this year has both felt like a never-ending year and also a year that never happened. I don't know how that's a thing, but it's a thing. The thing that I want to know most is, what books do you want to read before the end of the year? Because you may give me some ideas, and plus I'm curious what everyone else is reading. Do you have any specific books that you like to read at the end of the year? Are there any rereads that you like to do at the end of the year? I know a lot of us are seasonal readers. I sure am, and so sometimes I reread, not necessarily Christmas books, but kind of holiday type book. Do you reread anything every year? I'm curious. First question, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Hoo boy, yes. I tend to read many books at once. I am in the middle of reading Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. I think when I checked, like 30% of the way through. I'm getting a little discouraged because it is so long. I really like the Diviners series, but these books are like 100 pages too long, at least in my opinion. They are very chunky books, and so it's been very slow going. And now that we're not in Halloween anymore, it's even harder because it's not that same mood anymore. The one thing I will say is it does read YA. Sometimes the conversations, the lines that some of the characters say is a little cheesy for me, for my taste. It's a little cheesy for my taste, but I love the atmosphere so much, and I am 3 books in and I'm invested in the characters, so I want to finish this book. But it's been slow going. But what's been even more slow going is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Where are you? This book, I am like 126 pages in, and the copy that I have has 544 pages. I have been reading this book for 2 months now, at least, if not more. There's nothing wrong with this book. It's just a wholesome, precious book about these 4 sisters, and their father's away at war, and they're just precious. There's nothing bad that I can say about this book, but it also isn't a page turner for me. I will read a chapter and I'll be like, oh, that was sweet. And then I don't have any desire to keep going. But when I pick up and I read the next chapter, I'm like, oh yeah, that was good, that was sweet. Also, I blame Friends for ruining one of the big plot twists in the book. I already know because I watch Friends. Pretty rude. I am a huge advocate of spoilers don't have a time limit. Everyone's like, oh, this book was written 100 years ago. If you haven't read it by now, it's okay for you to be spoiled. I wasn't alive 100 years ago. Just because I haven't read it yet doesn't mean that I want to be spoiled. I still want to read it. It's just probably going to be a slow read for me. Second question, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? I have a little series. This is by Catherine Arden. The first book is Small Spaces, and the second one is Dead Voices. These are middle grades. I really enjoy middle grades. And I tend to reread them a lot during the end of the year. They just make me happy and whimsical and cozy. These are perfect in my opinion because this, as you can see, is got scarecrows and is more autumnal feeling. But then this one is in this big cabin mansion type place in the mountains in a blizzard in the snow, which is perfect for the winter. So I love these two. So I read this one in like November-ish, and then I move into this one in December, and it's just perfect. I love them. They both revolve around a group of friends. The book starts out with Ollie, who is 11 years old, and she finds a woman crying and being kind of hysterical by a river, threatening to throw a book into it. And she doesn't really think, she just grabs the book, and the book is called Small Spaces. She's reading the book / journal. It is set on a farm hundreds of years ago. It's about a girl and 2 boys who loved her, and the smiling man, which is something or someone that a deal was made with. We'll grant your wish, but for a price. And then they go on a school field trip, and she finds out that the farm that they're visiting is owned by a descendant of the people in the story. It is creepy, and then something strange happens. The bus breaks down, and creepiness ensues. And let's just say this is a good depiction of the creepiness. So that's a really fun atmospheric read, and I really like the characters. So those are really perfect for like autumn and then winter. Catherine Arden also did the Bear and the Nightingale series right here. If you're a fan of that, this is, as you may or may not know, her middle grade series, and it's just really good. She's great. Question 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Yes. Oh my gosh, I want to get the audiobook for Hollowpox. Hollowpox is by Jessica Townsend. It is the 3rd book in the Nevermore series. Here's another middle grade series that I am in love with. Kind of big. Nevermore and Wondersmith is the sequel. I have a really hard time describing what Nevermore is about in a way that doesn't sound strange, because it is about these cursed children on Eventide, which is their 11th birthday. They will die. Morrigan Crow is the main character, and she is one of these cursed children. But on Morrigan's Eventide, she is swept away by quite the character, Jupiter North, to Nevermore, which is a magical city that has the Wondrous Society, which is a school for special children, and there are competitions to see if you'll get in, and if she can compete in these trials to be in the Wondrous Society, then she will not have to deal with whatever fate awaits her elsewhere. The characters are so fleshed out and unique, and my cheeks hurt from smiling just thinking about these books. I always listen to the audiobook. Since the very first one, I've listened to the audiobook, and I absolutely recommend it if the audiobook is the one narrated by Gemma Whelan. My goodness, she does the most perfect voices and unique voices for all these different characters. Her voice is spectacular. She is actually an English actress and comedian. She played Yara Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but if you know Game of Thrones and you really like it, this is her voice. And so I'm waiting on this book because I want the audiobook. I've listened to them all in her voice, and it elevates the experience to another level. So I have it on hold on Libby, and I really want to hear the 3rd one. Question 4, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Oh, 3, only 3. This is very hard. So I tried to pick the 3 that I most want to prioritize. I want to read The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. This sounds so interesting. It is about parallel Earths, and there are 380 realities that have been unlocked, and Kara, the main character, is dead in all but 8. If you are dead in one of the realities, then you can go visit because your counterpart is not there. So that is actually good for Kara because she can really go to the many different realities. She's offered a job traveling the multiverse, but when one of her doppelgangers die under mysterious circumstances, she's plunged into a new world with an old secret, and there is a plot that endangers not just her Earth, but the entire multiverse. I bought this one because that just sounded great. So I took a chance. I got the UK cover because it's breathtaking. This story I want to prioritize. Another one is Alatsoe by Darcy Littlebadger. Breathtaking again. These covers are just wow. Imagine an America very similar to our own. It's got homework, best friends, and pistachio ice cream. Oh, do people like pistachio ice cream? There are some differences. This America has been shaped dramatically by the magic, monsters, knowledge, and legends of its peoples, those indigenous and those not. Alatsoe lives in this slightly stranger America. She can raise the ghosts of dead animals, a skill passed down through generations. Her beloved cousin has just been murdered in a town that wants no prying eyes, but she's going to do more than pry. The picture-perfect facade of Willoughby masks gruesome secrets, and she will rely on her wits, skills, and friends to tear off the mask and protect her family. I am so eager to read this book. The other book that I want to start before the end of this year, but I plan on taking my time because it's over 1,000 pages long, and that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I've had this book for way too long. This is intimidating, but I had bought it always with the intention to take my time with it. I'm not going to try to read it even in a month. And this is an epic tale of 19th century England and the two very different magicians who, as teacher and pupil and then rivals, emerge to change its history. Magicians, 19th century England, that sold me. 5. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I really, really believe I'm going to love this book. Oh, I think this is going to be fantastic. 6, have you already started making plans for 2021? My biggest plan, and it's always my plan, and I feel like it's always all book lovers' plans, is to try to read the books that we already own. Logical, right? But no, there's always more books that come out that you want to buy or check out from the library. So my goal will continue to be to try to read books that I own. I need to do an updated video because one of the first videos I did on this channel was my challenge of reading all the books that I own, and that did not work out. I read a lot, but I definitely didn't read all of them. So I need to update and say that I failed. The other thing I want to do is I want to start and hopefully read all next year of my Hobbit and Lord of the Rings trilogy. These movies are some of my favorites, and I really want to see the inspiration and delve into his actual words. And the other thing that I want to do in 2021 is that I want to be more aware of what types of books I'm reading at the same time, because I typically read at least 2 books at once, sometimes 3 if there's an audiobook thrown in there. And I notice that I get into reading slumps way easier when I'm reading too much of the same kind of book or too many heavy books. I would like to be a little more conscious of making sure that I have like a middle grade or a magical realism, which are my happy feeling books, thrown in there, along with if there's more like fantasy heavy or darker or action heavy books. Being a little more aware of what I'm reading so that I don't fall into reading slumps as easily as I did this year. That was the end of the year book tag. I'm excited to see what I end up reading by the end of the year and start fresh in 2021. So as I said, let me know what books you want to read by the end of this year. I'm very curious, and I hope you are surrounded by good books. Take care. Bye.